visual gags and weird moments, but the core is solid. This episode wants to be not normal and fails beautifully. And you know what also fails beautifully? The following season. Oh boy, season 7. Welcome to the nuclear waste zone of SpongeBob. The season is so cursed, even some fans talk about it like it's Voldemort. The We Don't Speak of It season. For some of you who aren't really familiar, this is the era of overused gross out. Characters acting like they've been lobotomized, and plot lines that feel like someone got dared to write SpongeBob fan fiction at 3 a.m. with some booze. And yet, somehow, some way, we need to find the most normal episode in here.
You scared me.
And fire and clogged arteries. Funny, but still knows. Maybe one-course meal, where Mr. Krabs weaponizes Plankton's phobia to the point of suicide. Whoa, okay, chill. Growth spout, in which Pearl turns into a kaiju because she's hungry? Definitely not normal. What about buried in time? They accidentally bury themselves alive for fun. Yeah, no. Oh, what about this one? Tentacle Vision. The episode about a local TV show and nothing explodes. Squidward starting a public access TV show from his house. But SpongeBob and Patrick immediately ruin it with their usual brand of help.
It's heavy.
Classic. That's it. That's the plot. Just a wannabe influencer and 2 loud neighbors. Even Krabs shows up and doesn't commit tax fraud. Just tries to sell ads. For this season, that's a miracle. Tentacle Vision wins by default and by bare minimum effort. Just when you think it couldn't get any more off the rails, Season 8 shows up wearing a suit, trying to convince you like everything's fine. The animation looks a little cleaner. The pacing feels a bit more slow. You might even start to think, maybe the show found its frequency.
One bag, infinite possibilities. Kate Spade.
Leah's working hard, growing. Pampers is working hard, keeping him dry. Only Pampers Fathers has a keep dry liner to keep him comfortably dry. Pampers, behind every baby.
Breathe it in. Woo! Just let me handle the locals. Hey, bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub. Hey.
Hey, bub. Hey.
Bub, 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 bub.
Bub, 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 bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub. Hey, bub, bub.
Hey, bub. Bubby, bub.
Hey, bub. Hey, bub. Hey, oh.
Hey, bub, bub.
Hey, bub.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on the new Jeep Grand Cherokee.
I love the vibe in here. It's so bougie and leathery. Ooh, stop. Is that a third row? It's a third row.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think. For this season's normal, we have accidents will happen. This episode starts off extremely tame. It's about Squidward having a little workplace incident and claims he's injured. But instead of calling HR like a normal employee, he just decides to fake an injury for free labor. This is literally a plot from every workplace comedy in the early 2000s. So naturally, SpongeBob becomes a one-man restaurant robot doing literally everything while Squidward lounges in a body cast eating bonbons. If you've ever worked retail or food service, this episode is like watching a documentary. You've got SpongeBob turning into a human stress ball trying to handle everything at once. Relatable. Mr. Krabs panicking that he's going to lose money over an insurance claim. On brand. Squidward faking an injury to avoid working. Honestly, genius. It's grounded, it's corporate, it's relatable. But the same cannot be said for the rest of the season, such as Face Freeze, where everyone makes silly faces until their bodies lock up like a cursed emoji, and let's not forget, Bubble Buddy returns. Yep, he comes back, and brings a baby that's made of soap. Bubbles. Why? Yeah, we found our winner. So, the show got a little dramatic, but now we're headed into season 9. This is the new era of SpongeBob. The episodes are punchy, high energy, kind of fun again. You almost feels safe. But remember what I said before? The chaos never really left, it just learned how to smile. But we're still on our sacred quest. Find the one normal episode in a sea of sponge-induced chaos. And our winner is Tudor Sauce. This one is about SpongeBob that still can't drive, and Mrs. Puff basically giving up on him. So Mr. Krabs, genius that he is, decides he'll teach SpongeBob how to drive by himself, which goes about as well as you'd expect. Krabs is completely unqualified. SpongeBob is a moving disaster, and the entire town becomes a crash test zone. It's just a dude, a boat, and a boss trying to turn his employee into a delivery boy so he can save on gas money. If you've ever driven with your dad, you've lived through this episode. Let's look at the competition for a second. We have Lost in Bikini Bottom, where SpongeBob gets lost in the city and ends up living with a sewer-dwelling bottom feeder. Is this a metaphor for something? And I'm scared to know what. There's also Mall Girl Pearl, where Pearl tries to get a job at the mall. Feels normal until she goes through like 47 personality changes in 11 minutes. So, a no-no. FoodCon Castaways is where everyone gets stranded on a desert island after a food convention trip goes south. Also, there's food-related hallucinations. Again, no. So yeah, Tudor Sauce, our Season 9 champ. Not flashy, not creepy, we love to see it. But now we're talking about the shortest season in SpongeBob history. Like, weirdly short, with only 11 episodes. Clean, quick, and innocent looking. And for a second, you'd think, maybe we'll get a breather. Spoiler alert, we don't. So what's the most normal episode of Season 10? Drum roll, please. Whirly Brains. Just kidding. That's the one where they literally rip their brains out and fly them like drones. No sanity there. Let's talk about the actual contender. Feral Friends. A surprisingly calm episode about marine biology? Yeah, I'm serious. On paper, it sounds like another acid trip. A glowing moonfish zaps the town and turns everyone into realistic sea creatures, like actual National Geographic animals. It's weird, but it's also scientifically accurate. Even with the fish rape part, this one still feels normal in a way that characters behave in realistic ways once they de-evolve. SpongeBob becomes a literal sponge. Patrick is flopped on a rock. Sandy, who's immune to the fish beam because she's a mammal, has to rescue everyone while they de-evolve into their true forms. That's a solid plot. Coherent, logical, even science-based story arc. Steven Hillenburg actually used his major degree properly for once. Well, the visuals are still creepy, but in an artsy short film way. Not a Squidward's toenail explodes. The stakes are about survival, too. Not, we accidentally summoned a jellyfish god. Just marine zoology with a weird twist. That's my best pick, I think. Compared to the other episode, this one feels mild. There's also Code Yellow, an episode where SpongeBob becomes a plastic surgeon and starts reconstructing Squidward's face mid-surgery. Yeah, no. It's the only episode in Season 10 that could low-key air on Animal Planet if you muted the scream parts. It gives a tiny bit of educational value, has actual tension, and a single character trying to solve a problem. So far we've survived Grease Wars, retail breakdowns, crash test lessons, brain fight, and even live-action SpongeBob. But this is where the show starts to go full throttle. Season 11 doesn't just break logic, it breaks the laws of physics, narrative, and sometimes common decency. If you thought we'd hit the peak of weird, you are so not ready for what comes next. We've officially entered Season 11, where SpongeBob's eyelids have frames of animation, and the background fish are more expressive than before. But guess what? We found our normal episode on the first try. It's called The Checkup. To sum it up, Mr. Krabs is overdue for a required physical exam. If he doesn't pass it, the Krusty Krab gets shut down. So what does Krabs do? Being the penny-pinching crustacean that he is, he goes full drama queen mode and tries to fake his way through the physical. Naturally, SpongeBob and Squidward have to trick him into going, which leads to more funny shenanigans. Classic. But hey, workplace healthcare in America is worse. The man really said, "I'd rather die than pay a medical bill." It's incredibly human behavior. Mr. Krabs is just a dude who really doesn't want to go to the doctor. The stakes? Entirely realistic. If you don't get your physical, your business gets shut down. That's some OSHA-level realism right there. On the other hand, the rest of the season doesn't really have realism. Take Krabby Patty Creature Feature, for example, with an experimental patty that turns everyone into creepy meat mutant fish monsters. It kind of sounds like the Last of Us plot, but with Patty. Or Man Ray Returns, where SpongeBob and Patrick try to turn Man Ray into a good guy via roommate bonding. It's like The Odd Couple, but one of them is a villain who will 100% kill again. It's a rare SpongeBob episode where everyone stays the same species the entire time. That alone puts it in the top 1% of normalcy. We got our normal quite easily for Season 11, but don't celebrate just yet, because Season 12, that's where things start getting suspiciously stable. And you know what that means in this show? It's a trap. We have Boss for a Day in Season 12. A tale as old as time. Krabs loses his voice and temporarily steps away from the Krusty Krab. So SpongeBob is put in charge of the restaurant. So he fucks it all up, right? No, he runs it, like normally. He holds meetings, he assigns tasks, he manages workflows. He makes, I kid you not, a schedule. Yeah, he's actually killing it. It's disturbingly functional, if you ask me, until he becomes a little, too into the manager role. He starts bossing everyone around like he's running a Silicon Valley startup out of the freezer, even though they work in a place that sells burgers shaped like flowers. So the team pushes back. SpongeBob realizes he needs to chill. Balance is restored. Boom. Done. Everyone is safe. It's a normal day with normal power dynamics, normal character decisions, and a tidy 3-act structure. You could low-key air this in Season 1, and nobody would notice. Which is rare praise for Season 12, a season that had episodes like Plankton's Old Chum, where the town becomes plague-infested with buckets of literal radioactive meat. Or the Krusty Slammer, where Krabs turns the restaurant into a literal prison. He locks up customers, like actually incarcerates them, for fun. This isn't satire. This happened. That's 2 semi-normal episodes in a row? Wow. Are things stabilizing? Does SpongeBob finally become a kid's show again? Nope. Because it's time for Season 13, where everything looks like a 3D scan of a lobster fist, and the color grading makes you feel like you accidentally clicked a highlighter. You've made it this far, so props to you for still having brain cells left. Most viewers checked out around the Patrick gets a new face era. This season alone brought up some of the most bizarre episodes of SpongeBob. Episodes like Something Narwhal This Way Comes,